Hey there, welcome to the Tragedy to Triumph podcast with Dave Roever. I am your co-host, Kim Chapin. I'm Dave's daughter, sitting here with my dad, and we are cruising along with our episodes today. I'm excited. This is episode number 4.
Yeah. Isn't that fun? We just started this thing off in our very first podcast. Just the announcement had 27,000 reviews on it. I'm so excited. I hope people today will watch and listen. Watch on YouTube, of course. That's on iHeart or Facebook or whatever the platform is that you'll respond. And why don't you subscribe and let's just do this together, you and me. What do you think, folks? I'd love to have that happen. And today is very special. I'm going to share a little bit about my style, what I do. Now, I've got a lot of friends out there. Tens of thousands of folks that are they follow our ministry, but they know me. But for some of you that don't, when I say ministry, don't change your channel because it's some preacher. No. I'm not even a preacher. I'm a parabolist. I use life experiences, stories of things I've experienced, seen, or done, and draw a parallel to a walk that you may be going through in your lifetime, that the things that work for me to see me through it will see you through it. And how God can take the smallest little thing and turn it into the most amazing experience. And that's what I want to do today, too. We have a very good story from a great book.
Yeah, so we are just kind of pulling out a chapter today from War and Recovery. This is a compilation of stories, right?
I tell everybody it's stories from the battlefield for the mission field.
Yeah, it is not it's not a biography or where it's chapter 1 through chapter 20 in chronological order. These are all short stories. And so we thought, let's pull one out today and just really quick kind of touch on it because I feel like it is going to go along with, what we're talking about today. But it's chapter 10, and you're going to have to explain this to me and to all of the listeners and watchers, viewers today. It's chapter 10, and it's called You Give Me Chop Chop.
You Give Me Chop Chop, GIU number 1. For Vietnam veterans, they know what I'm talking about. In Vietnam, the children over there would call food chop chop.
Oh,
chop, chop.
Okay.
And they were always wanting food. They were hungry, poor little kids. It's a third world country in the middle of a war, and everybody's half starved. And but before I get to that, I want to give a little background so first time listener or viewer might pick up on what I'm about. I was injured in the war in '69. I was hospitalized a year and 2 months. Grenade blew beside my head, took off half my skin off my body, and left my face mutilated and scarred. 5 or 6 years ago, I have to actually sit down on the counter and count them up. About 6 years ago or so, they rebuilt my face. Actually, they wanted to do a face transplant. They showed me the guy whose face I'd get. He's uglier than me and never had been burned. I didn't want his face. He was born, they slapped his mother. But the damage was significant. But this was right near the end of my tour of duty in Vietnam. I was in the U.S. Navy Special Warfare Command. I was on a PBR, River Patrol Boat, in the Mekong Delta on a river called the Vam Co, Vam Co Tay, and Vam Co Dong, 3 different rivers. Vam Co being the main tributary, and the smaller ones, Vam Co North and Vam Co South, Vam Co Tay and Vam Co Dong. The Vam Co Tay was an incredibly dangerous river because it flowed right up to the Cambodian border. And we got a lot of firefights up there. I mean, there were times we go day after day after day, 2 and 3 a day, and then we wouldn't, nothing for a week. We'd go nuts, insane. They're there, why aren't they shooting? We'd rather them shooting, we know where they were, than not shooting, didn't know where they were.
Yeah, they didn't reveal themselves.
One day I was coming down the river on a riverboat, PBR. This kind of boat was featured in a movie called Apocalypse Now. And we have pictures, but we won't try to bring it up here because we didn't prepare for that. But the riverboat was also featured in a movie called Acts of Valor. And we in the Navy are not always on big ships. I've never been on a ship in my life, on a big ship in the Navy. I was on a little riverboat, 30 feet long, 11.5 feet wide, do 40 knots, 4 guys, and then our SEAL teams. And I was assigned to SEAL Team 1 to be the boat guy. and we were in what was called Tan Province, and it was very, very dangerous. But sometimes we get a reprieve when the river was really wide and we didn't feel like we were an easy target. In other words, they're going to have to shoot a couple times to get on target. That gives us time to get on target too. Mm-hmm. So I felt relatively safe in a little village called Tutua. And it was the widest part of that river running through that Tutua was on. And I just shut off the engines and just drifting there, and we were having a little time of R&R, just kind of not under so much intense pressure of being shot at because it felt safe. And a little boy rode up on these sampans. We call them canoes over here. It's kind of a sampan. Mm-hmm. And he rode up. He's sitting on the very pinnacle, the front of the bow of his little sampan. And he had a little paddle. He rode up. And the side of the PBR would stick up probably 2 feet out of the water. And when we would go down with the wave would come up while his little canoe would come up and go down. So his head would be popping up and then going down, popping up, going down. And because he couldn't hold on because then the boats are too heavy.
Yeah.
So when he popped, GI, you're number one. Then he'd disappear. You give me chop, and he'd disappear. And I thought, man, he's the only one to ask. Ask and you shall receive. So I said, let's give you something to eat. Well, we had already eaten. We ate what were called combat rations, sea rats. They were World War II, believe it or not, World War II combat rations from World War II in Korea, left over. You never know what you're going to get. It's kind of like life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. You open that thing up, it could be rotten, spoiled, or you open it up, it'd be fresh as the day it was put in there.
Goodness. So
we opened 2 or 3 before we got to a good one. You know, sometimes it'd be tuna fish or it'd be chicken or God knows what else, Spam. So I said, let's get him something because I was boat captain that day. So everybody's looking. We'd already eaten everything, thrown away what was bad. We didn't have anything. Man, I was heartbroken. I want to give him something. I don't know why I did it. I looked in the bilge. I raised the engine cover up, and there in the bottom of that bilge, floating on water and oil, was a cellophane package of what looked like Rice Krispies that had been crushed or oat flakes, cereal all crushed up. I think what they did in America, when they got through the cereal box, they sent it back to the manufacturer, and they saved all the crust, all the little chunks, put it into candy bars and sent to us.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
So it was some kind of a cereal candy bar. Well, the package had not been compromised. The inside the candy was still good. So I wiped the oil and water off of it. And in Vietnam, you don't hand with one hand. That's how you feed a dog.
Yeah.
Remember in Vietnam, you've been there. Used two hands.
Yeah.
When I did, he had to let go of his oar or what he was holding on to. And with 2 hands, he took it. Well, when he took it and the boat rocked, he fell over backwards. He was balanced. He had no legs at all.
Wow.
From the waist down, he was nothing. From
goodness,
just below the belly button. He had no legs, no hips. A landmine had blown him right in half, and the kid lived through it.
Wow.
He's probably 7, 8 years old, maybe 9. I don't think he's 9 years old. I think he's about 7 or 8 at the most. And when he fell over backwards, the little towel that he had laying in front of him is what hit it. I was mortified. And I reached down to get him, and when I picked him up, he only weighed a few pounds, half his body weight. He's already so light. I just gathered him up and held him in my arms. When I did, I saw his thumb. He walked on his hands, swinging his little body when he walked. So he walked on his hands, and somebody had stepped on his hand and on his thumb, and his thumbnail was hanging by probably a 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch of skin, still hanging on there. It was all green. Now turning his hand over and running up through his arm, past his elbow, red streaks in the blood veins. He had gangrene. Blood infection was in that little boy's arm.
Goodness.
That's deadly. It's going to kill him.
Right.
I have training in emergency combat medications and medicine. What to do, how to apply a tourniquet, blah, blah, blah. I can't save this boy's life. I'm going to try. So we had first aid kits. It had mercurochrome. You ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm. Iodine.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I opened the bottle up, and I just poured it. I pulled that little piece of a thumbnail off, and I poured it all over it. Then I and I washed it good and then poured it all over it. Then I wrapped it up with a clean white gauze, his entire hand. Looked like he had a white mitten on.
Yeah.
He was so proud of that. He waved at all the kids on the short bank saying something in Vietnamese, like, look what I got. Well, they all wanted one. They all wanted me to come out and wrap their hand up. I couldn't do that.
Oh.
I put him back in his little boat and he went off. I couldn't get him out of my mind all night. Well, we had to go. We were headed back to our base, Mobile Base 2 it was called, in the little village there of Tan Inn. And I got back that night in my bunk. I just couldn't get him off my mind. So the next day I got permission from Lieutenant Vince Rambo, who was our commanding officer. Rambo was his name.
I love it.
That's before the movie.
Love it. When you said that in the past, a lot of people are like, Rambo, yeah, right. But like, for real, that was his name.
Was his name, Vince Rambo. He was one of the finest men I ever had the awesome privilege to serve. He was a great man. Mm-hmm. And I said, sir, is there any chance we could do a medical operation and go in there and he said, sure. So, man, the medics put together a big bag of stuff. It was actually a big transfer case of stuff. We took it up there, and I started looking for him. Now, we're off the boat, beached the boat, when I'm looking for this little boy. Well, I found him. He was on the shoulders of a kid that was carrying him around on his, the guy he didn't have any legs, but had a little boy strapped up on his back, holding on his arms, hiding around his neck. And I said, Lade, that means come here, come alongside. Lade, come here, child. Lade. They came over, and I looked at that little boy's thumb. The bandage was gone. His thumbnail was fully grown back. I mean, full grown back.
Goodness,
now, don't tell me I had the wrong kid.
Yeah.
How many kids you gonna find with no legs?
Yeah, he's a very identifiable child. Yeah.
It was the same. I recognized his little face, and it was the same exact child. And he had a full grown. I wrote this up it's called The Evangel. It's a magazine published by the Assemblies of God denomination. They wanted me to tell that story. And so it's available somewhere back there, but it's also available in this book, War and Recovery. His thumbnail was fully grown back. He wanted chop, but he got a thumb and chop. Let me tell you what it did for me. It made me believe on that day when that grenade blew my body to pieces. I mean, literally turned me into ashes so many ways. Half my skin gone. I believed I was going to be all right. At first I thought I was dead, and then I realized I'm not dead yet. Mm-hmm. I'm not dead yet. I had a guy tell me, I mentioned this in my first podcast series, episode 1, series 1. I told the story of how that when the bullet went through my hand, it separated my hand in half, detonated the white phosphorus grenade, but severed the artery in my wrist. It might have been shrapnel from the grenade or the bullet, I don't know. But my thumb was blown off. It was hanging by a tendon, and blood was coming out in flags of red spray. And I believed God could save me that day from death. Although death would have been a welcome reprieve, later on I realized how much I loved the death angel. I wanted to become my bosom buddy. At that time, I tried to save my life. I jumped in the river swimming, trying to save my life, to get water to put the fire, but phosphorus burns in water. And I believed because I saw what God could do for a little thumbnail on a little boy. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, God, if you could put a thumbnail back, couldn't you grow him new legs?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I have so many questions when I get to heaven. One of them is, why'd you take my wife? What you talking about, Dave?
Well, I think it's interesting because you just mentioned you went back.
Yeah.
So you saw him the first day. God put it in your heart to go back. Now, let's fast forward this back to from 1969, when this was going on, to the 1990s, when you went back again.
Well, let me tell you, if you remember 1974 and 75, I went back.
Right.
This was before the communists took it, though. So
sure.
In 74, I was there. In 75, I got out of the hospital, recovered for a couple of years, 24 months of home care. And I went back to Vietnam with USAID. Went back. Mm-hmm. And they don't know why they let me go, and I don't know why I even asked. But I went back and I preached all over what was still called South Vietnam at the time. I had to go back. I had to go back to where I'd suffered so much, hurt so bad. I had to go back, Kim.
Yeah.
And
you've continued to go back.
After 1975, the communists took it in April 75. Now, the U.S. pulled out in 73, but the communists took it in 75. And when we pulled out in 73, we declared that we didn't win or lose the war. We just called it a draw, but we actually did lose the war. We didn't lose the war as Vietnam veterans or military. The war in Vietnam was lost in the halls of Congress by gutless politicians who wouldn't go and wouldn't let their children go. But I went, and then I had to go back. You know why? And that's what you were building up to. You were going to say, why'd you go back? Same reason I went back for that little boy with the thumbnail. I went back because my job wasn't finished. He was hurt. I had to go back and make sure he was going to be all right. During the war, they were hurt. I had to go back and finish what we'd started. But you can't finish with an M16 like you can with a John 316.
There it is. There it is. That's what I was getting to, because when you go back now, not only you don't go back alone for years, and I don't know what year you actually started taking Vietnam veterans back with you.
Yeah, it was probably around 1994. Took me a few years to get my courage up to know that I would be safe, and if I took somebody with me, I wanted them to be safe.
Right.
So I went several years without taking Vietnam veterans.
This was before the embargo was lifted. I mean, and it's still a communist country. So
we had no embassy. We had no ambassador.
Yeah.
We had nothing. No exchange of any kind between Vietnam. I mean, their bitterness was horrible. Mm-hmm. I remember going through customs in 1992, and they looked at me like I was the devil himself.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, they hated me. And the fact is they knew who I was. And I'd been there with special forces, and we were called war criminals, and they had price on our head. And if I was arrested for anything, I would automatically do 15 years in labor camp, of re-education camp, they called it. But I had to go back. Took Dan Dang with me, who was there as a 15-year-old. That's a whole nother story. We'll get to that.
We will.
Wait till you hear that story. Good heavens.
Yeah.
Wait till you hear that one.
Yeah. But you've been bringing Vietnam veterans back with you as part of a healing journey for them.
Yeah, we call it Journey Back.
Yep. And I think it's such a beautiful division of our ministry, which, back in the 90s, early 2000s, you started Roever Foundation.
Yeah.
Which has really become a training ground for all of our military outreach
and public schools.
In public schools.
It's non-religious, 501c3, non-religious corporation.
Yeah. So to be able to take these veterans back, as well as continue to work with active military, you were just with special boat teams. We go back to Pearl Harbor, Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam every year.
Yeah.
What a cool thing to be able to do, to continue to tell your story, but it's always a story of healing and going back. And I think that's such a cool thing. I think people need to know that you still do through Roever Foundation. It's still a part of what we do in Vietnam today, is take veterans back.
Well, we take veterans back, and they are healed in 1,000 different ways. We take them back where they were injured or where they served. Not everybody got hurt. Not everybody got injured.
Yeah.
And so it's not a requirement that you be a Purple Heart recipient to go with me.
Right.
Excuse me. But I can tell you, Kim, the people that go back never go back just once. They go back again. I've got people who've gone back over 100 times in the last 50 years.
Wow.
And I've been back so many times I can't even count them.
Yeah.
And every time I go back, it's a wonderful experience. And Vietnam has changed only in the big cities like Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, Da Nang, Vung Tau. Some of the larger cities have really prospered and done well, but you go 2 blocks down the road out of that city, and it's back in the old Vietnam just like it was. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You see some of the old deuce and a halves from the Army, and they're running around in those big old trucks, and radiators are gone. Radiators are wasted, so they have big old water big water pot or some kind of big tank on top of the cab. It runs water down through the block and drips it out on the road as it goes. And when that water's gone, then they go get some more.
I tell you this. So I was with you in Vietnam this year.
Yeah.
Well, this is 2026. So it would have been August of 25 last year that we went. And I am always amazed at how resourceful and just ingenious of how these people are. They are just so smart of how to move things, how to get it from point A to point B.
They're the brightest people I've ever known in my life.
I am amazed every time.
And I'll tell you something else too. They have the most beautiful women in the world. Vietnamese women are just absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful women.
And it's kind of hard for a GI to go over there during the war. Now I was married when I went, so I didn't have to deal with any of that because I was so committed and excited about being married to Brenda. No woman turned my head. But you get some of those really pretty little Vietnamese girls running their hair, fingers through your hair, another one pouring you a fifth of whiskey, another one lighting you a cigarette.
And all you want to do is forget.
Yeah. A lot of boys went home with more than they thought they were taking back to their wife.
Yeah.
Took back little presents their wife would never forgive them for.
Yeah. And that healing journey, like we had talked about, is I think is a cornerstone of what we have done. Also, I think it's great to bring up is in this modern day version of what we are doing with the military. You have built, so since 9/11's happened, so I want to say this is 2003 or 4 when you began to build Eagle Summit Ranch, Colorado.
Yeah.
Which is in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains of Colorado, and such a beautiful retreat center. So tell them a little bit about how that happened.
Well, first of all, I knew when that war started, I knew what was going to happen, that the veterans of the Global War on Terror or Operation Iraqi Freedom, OIF, I knew that they were going to be brought home to disgrace. And in the original Desert Storm, I thought this is the beginning of another experience for veterans to come back to disrespect, dishonor, and suicide galore. And I called the most influential man I knew, a 3-star in the Air Force, Bruce Wright, better known as Orville Wright, by a nickname. And I said, I want to do something for our troops. I said, I'm not going to let them come home and be treated like we were treated. And then no one care. I said, I want to build a place for them. These are his words. Dave, get it out of the institutions, installations, hospitals, get it away from convention centers and hotels. Go to the wilderness and build a place.
Yeah.
So with that information, there you are. I went to the wilderness. You see in the lower right picture.
Yeah.
That is at 9,000 feet. That road you see right there, we had to build that. We blew that out with dynamite all the way around. It goes down. There's probably 2 or 3 miles of road that we had to build. And I built, I was standing on the balcony of that lodge. That looks like a cabin. That's a lodge. That's 8,000 square feet right there.
Right.
And we built that on the side of that cliff and built a place for these warriors to come to. And I'm telling you, it is spectacular to the max. Yeah. The great room, the bedrooms, the media center where we train, do all of our training, the rooms for the guys that are in wheelchairs, no legs. And
right. It is ADA.
Yeah. And did you know I've had 6,000 troops come through our program. Not one of them ever had to pay a penny. I pay for round trip airfare. I pay for their training, food, housing. They leave with $1 they came with. They don't take, it doesn't cost them a thing, Kim.
Right.
And I'm going to say right now, I thank American Airlines for being the biggest donor of our career in helping our warriors. They help me. I raise the money for them for their programs, for their charities, and they give me air miles for my warriors.
Right.
So I don't get paid money to speak for them. I get paid in air miles, millions upon millions of air miles. Yeah. And my troops never pay. We bring in mom and all the babies, but our biggest success is at these ranches. Now, I've got another one too. We'll show you that in a minute. But you want to put it up?
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Eagle Summit Ranch, Texas, and Eagle Summit Ranch, Colorado. Both of them have the big eagles, the beautiful entrance there. It's spectacular, gorgeous, 5-star resorts, But we did this for our military, and I do not owe one penny on any of it, Kimmy. We have done this by the grace of God and generous donors.
Right.
I'm talking about little grandmas with $5 out of her fixed income with shaky little hand, trying to write a $5 check, to guys that gave $500,000, guys that gave $1 million per year, all kinds of donors in between.
Right.
And it's because we're good stewards. And these ranchers have seen their biggest success in this. Of all the things we do for our warriors, it's our married couples retreats.
Our
that have the
couples
best
retreats.
results.
Yep.
And there's one of our groups right there. Isn't that, look at that. There's, I mean, every face has an expression of some kind on it that is just precious. Yeah. This guy right here and his wife Dottie, that's Lee Williams, and his wife Dottie. Now, she passed away the other day. She's gone now. But they were devastated when each of them lost their loved ones on a school bus accident by a drunk driver hitting a school bus, May the 14th, 1988. Right. Larry Mahoney drove. He was drunk, drove in the little 4x4 Toyota pickup, head first into a bus load of kids, school bus. And his wife and 2 daughters, his whole family were on there. They were all killed. Her husband was the driver of the bus, and her daughter was there screaming at her daddy, get out, and she was burned horribly, but she did live. 27 kids, 24 children died, and I think it was 24 kids and 3 adults died that day out of 70 on that bus. They're there. He's one of our trainers. She was too at the time. That's me and my sweet wife, Brenda, before she passed away. Brenda and David are 2 of the sweetest people that you've ever met. There are trainers there with us too. So John Arroyo, a lot of stories. Right. They came broken.
Yeah.
And they went away healed.
Right.
Healed.
In these couples who come, we still have open enrollment to come to these couples retreats, and we still have them.
You blow your mind right now? I'm gonna blow your mind. Are you listening? Tap, tap, tap on the microphone. Are you listening? If you have a history of wearing the uniform and you have served our nation, I will pay round-trip airfare. I'll pay for training, housing, and food. I'll fly you either to the Texas ranch or the Colorado ranch at no cost to you. I will train you. We will help you. You'll meet people like are in that, having the time of their life. Everybody's got a story. Why do people come? Their marriages are on the rocks. Some of them are under the rocks. Some are still being stoned. In a lot of ways, you can take that. And we have had only 2 couples in all the thousands of people been through that program. Only 2 couples rejected our training and went through with their divorce. We will keep our word to you. If you'll call, now's the time to do it. At the end of this program, we'll have all the information up. And if you can't wait to the end of the program because you have to go right now, I'm going to ask our director to put that number up. Well, can you do it?
I've got ReaverFoundation.org.
That's the best way to do it.
That's the best way to do it. There's a link there for application, but it also goes through the different programs that we have because it's not just couples.
No,
right?
we do individual for active duty military. If you're a commander and you're listening to me, and you can form a group of guys together that you've deemed to be used to be warrior transition units and warrior transition battalions. But WTBs and WTUs, but those are gone now. So if you as a commander or any form of authority can arrange for, I can take 20 at a time. I don't want more than 20. We will not grow this to be every session. We'll do a lot of sessions at 20 instead of one at a whole bunch. I like to have personal, mano a mano. I like time, face-to-face, man-to-man. Or I don't do counseling for women without you or somebody with me of the opposite sex. Because we're very, very sensitive about, anyway, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But listen, if you'll contact me, I will get you in. But here's what you need to hear. Number 1, we're not a drug rehab. We do not do drug rehabilitation. There are people better trained in that than I'll ever be. If you got somebody going through post-traumatic stress disorder, they're struggling, and maybe have a history of drug abuse, I don't know. But if you're looking for a drug rehab, don't come. But if you are looking for rehabilitation of your hope, you're broken, you're hurting. It's not a place to come and beg for money. We're not going to give you money, but we're going to give you everything that money can buy while you're there. We're going to take care of you. And we are big in education. We will help you. We will get you into university programs. We have Texas University of Theology. We have Global University, Global Reap University, and School of Urban Missions. And all of our schools are accredited. Someone with the highest accreditation possibly be given. And if you'll contact us, we'll hook you up and get you into university programs. We're gonna make a difference in your life. That's what we're all about.
Right.
And if you're a Vietnam veteran, you want to go back to Vietnam. Did you hear me? You want to go back to Vietnam? Don't go back with some tour group. Go back with us. Journey Back is an opportunity of a lifetime. We're biblically based. We're a faith-based organization. We make no bones about it. The foundation is not a 501c3 religious organization. The Roever Evangelistic Association is, and Roever Educational Assistance Programs is an educational base. So we cover education, we cover non-religious, and we cover religious opportunities. And if you'd like to go back to Vietnam, RoeverFoundation.org. Go to it right now. But if you can just remember it. Worst case, I think it still works. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kim. HelpAvet.com. A lot of guys can remember that. Yeah. If you go to just any case, high, low, or whatever, HelpAvet.com, and it'll be a platform that'll take you straight to all the foundations and all the corporations. We have 3 corporations. I'm founding CEO and founder, and I'd love to have you come. We have worldwide, we have 500,000 students in our Global Reap University. We have hundreds and hundreds of students in Vietnam in our K through 12, and we're adding 4 new schools this semester, and it's a huge story there, but we're in 48 countries and 14 languages, and we're reaching the world with hope. And if you are interested in becoming a donor, maybe, if you'd like to become a donor, trust me, you can go look us up online as to how we manage our funds. You don't see any of it. It's just, and the reason, it's done overseas, and there's no what they call them, W-2s or W-9s, or I don't know what to call those things, because I don't do all that. But if you look and you call, we'll give you all the information that does not show up through the IRS because it's done overseas. The corporations are over there. We don't even bring them home. We don't even call them home. But we'll give you the full scope of what we do. And I think you can trust us. Yeah. I've been around, ordained as a minister in 1971, and been scandal-free all these years. Yeah. I just thank God, Kimmy, you grew up in a home that was constantly on the move, always. You never knew what it's like to have foundation under you.
No, I was in a trailer or a motorhome.
Or an airplane.
Or an airplane my whole life, I feel like.
I bought a Learjet and never asked anybody to pay for it. I bought and sold Learjets so I could buy my own and pay cash for it. Mm-hmm. But no one ever knew. I never told anybody. But we'd fly in that Learjet all over this continent and share Jesus with. I'd land on military bases. They'd call me in. They'd use my airplane and military fuel, and we'd load it up with generals and go to these WTUs, WTBs, and do what we call 2-a-days, 2 bases a day anywhere on the continental United States. I'd fly to public schools on the day they had the suicide. I'd work with those kids in public schools after the very day that a suicide took place with suicide prevention and suicide counseling, all grief counseling for kids that love those boys or girls that took their life. I got some stories to tell, Kim, of schools that they'll break your heart, and then with joy, I'll put it back together. Well,
and I still think that those words ring in your ear, at least in the memory of your heart. You give me chop chop. Give me food. Give me nourishment. Give me something that I need. I still feel like that resonates with you, and that desire to meet a need.
That's
that
why
desire
I started schools. I just finished a tour of schools in Ohio a few weeks ago. Yeah. I'm 79, going on 50, and 50 is the new 30. And if you don't believe me, I'll take you to some. Anyway, I'll just stop it. Common Core Math, I'm 21, so there we go. You can be anything you want.
It's like me, forever 29 is what I'm just going to stick with that. But, well, I think that if people who are interested in being a part of what we are doing in Vietnam, being a part of what we do at Eagle Summit Ranch, Texas or Colorado, definitely visit our website, reaverfoundation.org. You can also go to daveroever.org, where we've got War and Recovery if you are interested in purchasing the books. Dave is a very renowned author. I mean, you have books on there, videos, all kinds of great things that over the years, that you've made available for people to support what's going on in schools, in ministry, and in Vietnam.
Let me just insert, I do not take any royalties.
Right.
Every book had an upfront signing fee, and I got a little bit of money for that, for my time and effort. From that point on, never do I take any royalties, no sales percentages, nothing. Every dime and dollar that comes in off these books or T-shirts or videos, all of it goes to paying the round-trip airfare that American Airlines helps me with. It pays for all the food, travel, housing. That's why those facilities are all debt-free. I sold books and paid for all that. That's all, and I don't own one penny of it.
Yeah.
I don't own 1 cent. It all belongs to the 501c3.
Yeah.
I live in a house of 1,800 square foot. I drive an old 10-year-old, 15-year-old Mini Cooper, an old Buick, and I'm happy. I am happy. I'm as happy as I've ever been in my life.
Yeah. Well, I am excited that ministry continues on in Vietnam, continues on at our ranches, and that there is always that open door. There's always somebody who needs help or has a story, and they're always welcome to be a part of what we do here. But if you wouldn't mind, if you've enjoyed this podcast, subscribe to it. We would love to know that you are partnering with us in this journey. Share it with your friends and family. And anything else you want to add, Dad, before we sign off?
No, just say, Jesus loves you and so do we. God bless you, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.